Welcome back to Can Business Save the Planet? My name is Alex Schulze, and today I am joined by Deniz, Ryan, and Kayla from Eightpoint talking about their product, Wave Browser. This is going to be an exciting conversation to understand how technology can drive impact in the ocean space. Let's dive in. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Can Business Save the Planet? Super excited to connect with you, Deniz, Ryan, and Kayla.
Thank you, Alex. Happy to be here.
Awesome to be here.
Awesome. Nice to connect with you too.
Of course. So, Deniz, can you tell us a little bit more about Wave Browser and just the core features?
Absolutely, yeah. Web browser, it provides a safe, reliable browser experience. It has powerful productivity tools such as a built-in ad blocker. It's personalized and easy to use interface. And now we're very excited about our partnership with you. We would like to, tie it to a mission and help clean the ocean and the environment.
Love it. We appreciate your guys' partnership. Absolutely. And so, with somebody out there doing research and interested in potentially looking at new browsers to use as some of their daily platforms, what would you recommend to someone and just a quick kind of summary of why you think that they would want to pick Wave Browser over maybe Google or some of these other platforms that they might use?
Yeah, so how we are different, first of all, I think our browser is very lightweight. It's very customizable, and it can also be very personalized. So I think those are the key features that we have versus Chrome or other browsers out there. Because if you think about those browsers, they are built for millions of people, and we have a bit of a more niche product where we can actually be a little bit more customized and a little bit more user specific, if you will. I think those are the main features.
Got it. Understandable. Okay. And understanding the Wave Browser component, when we first started having conversations, you guys were very clear about your interest in overall impact and wanting to be able to partner with a group, an organization, a company that is creating an impact and making an impact out there. So I'm curious, what really drove you guys to want to learn more about 4Ocean and just a high level overview of our partnership?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mentioned to you when we were doing our cleanup event, it's a little bit personal for me because I was born in an island and always lived near the ocean. I remember my family's fishing trips and swimming outings on the weekends. So it's very very personal. I've always wanted to tie ourselves to a mission that makes sense for me personally, and also for the team. And also, second thing is we are in Florida, right? We're next to the ocean. We're next to the water, so we want to, I think, make an impact locally and also culturally if we can. So those are kind of the two main points. And I also mentioned to you, when we met in person, I have three boys. So I want to leave them a better future, obviously. And they're young, they don't really realize how important it is, the environment and how much, waste that we're actually putting in. So, I have a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. So it's living them a better future. I think those are the three main things for me.
I can appreciate that. And I actually grew up on the West Coast. I know you guys are based in Southwest Florida. And so that's where I grew up. And then really my passion for the ocean developed. So very excited to hear, you guys wanting to tie impact to the business because, we really do believe that impact and businesses really can go hand in hand and have a greater purpose across the board. So, I do appreciate that. We appreciate the partnership. So, long term, from a vision perspective, with what you guys would like to accomplish with the browser, from an impact, what is the high level goals that you guys would like to accomplish?
I mean, that's also a great question. I always think this as our partnership as a first step, if you will. You and I had great conversations where, I think there's a brand match in what we want to do with Wave Browser, but we have other businesses and other product lines. This partnership could really fit in well because we do want to tie our business to a mission. We just don't want to make money only, right? We want to have some impact. We want to leave, maybe a mark behind or a legacy behind. And we're thinking this as a first step in our partnership or in our efforts to clean the environment. And regardless of what products we have in our portfolio, I think we would like to expand this partnership and clean more and more from the ocean, from the water, from the forest, and whatever that may be. I think environmental effects that we can leave is very important for us.
Agreed. And Ryan or Kayla, any other thoughts for you guys on goals long term or what you'd like to accomplish?
Yeah, in addition to that, guys, I think it's something, tech and AI has been on the news really heavily recently, and huge part of that is this movement toward compute and using resources and energy usage. And I think as we start to deploy those types of features in our own products, something that we've been thinking about is, how do we leave an impression, or I guess a legacy of stewardship, as well as paving the way for these kind of enhanced features. So I think this kind of couples together, right? We get to go into the AI space, we can use a lot of those features, but at the same time, we can give back with all this energy and all these kind of resources that this is kind of utilizing across the tech industry. So it was a cool little mesh there, I thought.
I love that. I love that. Hey, Kayla, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I mean, one thing to touch on, no problem, is that Wave is the name of the browser. It very organically played into kind of an ocean model. We met with a lot of partners very similar to 4Ocean, and after a lot of the conversations and really diving into what you guys are doing and your purpose, it just seemed to fit really organically and make a lot of sense for the business.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate that. And I think, when it comes to various different businesses, I think that, Ryan, as you're mentioning, tech is receiving a lot of the spotlight. And there's a lot of these different resources that are being allocated towards it, and it is becoming a larger topic of conversation. And so it is interesting, seeing different tech businesses be aware of this and also think about the different impacts that they can have. And, if you guys were talking to other businesses, other brands, other people out there trying to be mindful of this, like, what do you think are some of the lowest hanging fruits when it comes to, trying to reduce the impact overall of the business, especially when it comes to these various different sectors?
Yeah, I'll take that for a second here, Alex. I don't know if we're going to be able to reduce impact as much as we'd like. I mean, with the technology blitz towards AI, I mean, you see it everywhere. I mean, look at these huge firms investing hundreds of billions into energy compute. But what we can do is we can take, some of the profits that we make from these businesses, we can redeploy them into these kind of areas that we think we can make a big difference. And a browser like ours is really cool because you can make people kind of participate in a very passive way, right? You bring them into the product and they're going to search every day. They're going to use our tools. They're going to use our AI features every day. And those features generate kind of income and passive profits that we can then give to somebody like yourself, right? So with this partnership, surf the web, save the ocean, we can allow our users to come in and they can passively help in this regard. So I think, we'll definitely have a constituent of users who are in there and they want to use the product and all they want to do is kind of engage with the ocean features and kind of really help and push that. And 4Ocean's really cool because they have that consumer face, right? People know 4Ocean. A lot of these other players don't have that kind of consumer recognition. And so, yeah, a lot of those people come in, they'll want to engage with the 4Ocean components. They're going to want to be involved in the mission. But there's a large, and probably the majority of our users are going to come in and just use the product. But we can harness, this partnership to still give back to the ocean. So there's a lot of cool ways we can help reduce our impact. I don't think if we're going to be able to actually reduce total energy consumption, but we can definitely reduce impact by giving to places like yourself.
That's a great answer, and I understand the various different aspects of running the business, and I think that you're absolutely right that it's pretty unique in the sense that there's businesses that you wouldn't immediately think would be immediately tied to impact or tied to cleaning the ocean, right? And I think that's amazing to see that there's different businesses that can allocate profits, allocate a percentage of revenue to be able to have the impact, with different organizations out there. Like you said, whether it's planting trees, cleaning the ocean. I mean, there's so many different activities out there that are making positive strides towards the environment and really helping with conservation. So I think that is awesome to hear. And, more businesses I think can look at that on how to grow their impact overall. And, Dennis, you mentioned as far as, with your background and growing up by the ocean and being passionate about the ocean, long term, when you think of what this partnership could accomplish, cleaning plastic and things along those lines, and mentioning, there's other product lines, other different opportunities, what would you say for other businesses that are out there that are interested in something like this, where they can still balance the aspect of running a business and having sustainable finances and being able to still grow profitably, but also being able to give back? I mean, what are your thoughts on it when it comes to that model?
Any opportunity that we can give back, and how easy the implementation has been with you guys. So we always look for opportunities like that, and I think it'll be important for us to scale this, right? So like I said, we are a profitable company. We do well, but at the same time, we need to think bigger mission, right? Why are we here? Like, what are we trying to do? Where are we? Those are very important questions, right? So once you start answering those questions, you also need to understand our only purpose cannot be just make money and be profitable. So, in that regard, I think that's kind of long term where I see this. as we scale our business to give back to the community here. So that's kind of where I am with that.
I love that. I love that. And, Kayla, when you think about different partnerships, it's really helping to spearhead across the board. How do you envision, partnerships as a whole being able to help to drive Eightpoint and the Wave browser platform forward?
Yeah, definitely. So my focus totally is on partnerships. And we work with a lot of very large partners based out of Silicon Valley and New York and very large, well recognized brands that have this footprint when it comes to the social impact. And we really were missing that. I think a lot of what we were doing was based in Fort Myers, very humane society based and things like that. And so, from this perspective, it gives us more of a global footprint in terms of the partnership with 4Ocean, but also a name that our very large branded partners recognize as well. So, I think it just kind of fits nicely. Not only will it help us in terms of acquiring new users, but it really gives us a sense of validity with our partners that we already work with.
And Alex, when you run a company, yeah, I mean, we are a sizable company. Like I mentioned, we're 170 plus people, over $200 million top line. So it's a sizable company. And when you have partnership opportunities like this, what you want is a partner that you can easy to work with, and they're actually dedicated to their craft, right? So it's very important for us. And I gave you these props when I was with you in person. I think what we found with you guys is, when we started to talking to different partners, we realized you actually do this this is your life, right? So
Yes.
it's not a pet project, it's not a side project. This is your life. You really dedicated your life to this, and I really appreciate what you have done here, and I congratulate you. It's an amazing thing that you created. And the other thing is, how easy is it to work with you guys, right? So I mean, we have so many fires, right? Even taking 30 minutes for this call, it's a challenge, right? So I have my CPO here, head of partnership, and
Yeah.
they have so many other fires. So how easy it is for us to get into a call? How easy it was for us to come to Miami and start cleaning.
Yeah.
So those are all the good things that we look in a partner. And
Yeah.
you guys have been amazing. That's why I'm very impressed, and I'm gonna definitely look for ways to scale this partnership.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. The team works incredibly hard. We've got an amazing group of people here that are passionate, like you said, and a majority of the team have worked with us for a very long time. And yeah, everybody here that they've committed to it. We are living the mission through and through. And so we love to hear that you guys had a great time. I mean, you guys had a blast. I got to tell you, you guys
Oh
kicked
yeah,
some butt when you got on the boat with us. We
yeah,
we had a great time out there cleaning plastic, and I'm always very glad to be able to get our partners out on the boat. I think it's
yeah,
amazing being able to get you guys to see that firsthand, to get out there in the sun, sweating, cleaning, understanding it's a dirty job and understanding how hard the captains and crew work every day. So I always love being able to take you guys out and various different partners to show them that. And you guys did a
yeah.
fantastic job. And, what
And
were your
yeah,
thoughts? Yeah, what were your
yeah. I
thoughts
mean,
about the cleanup?
it was amazing. It was eye-opening for me, because you don't really pay attention to waste when you are on your own, right? But if it's the mission, right, and when you start realizing, like, imagine we had a conversation when we just drove, I think, like, sailed about 300 yards, and we immediately started seeing keys and plastic bags and all kinds of waste. I mean, we found somebody's driver's license and car keys in a plastic bag. Like, it was, and then we found like multiple, whiskey bottles and like 25 empty cans. It was just amazing. It's just, you don't really pay attention to those things when you take your boys out to the beach. But it's always around you. And I also was very surprised and also humbled by the impact we done in like 2 hours, right? 3 hours. Like, we found so much trash. I mean, I think those are the things that they will take with me. And now when I take my boys to the beach, I go, hey, let's just go grab a couple of plastic bags or pet the bottles, and then we throw them into the trash. Even 10, 15 of them. So those are, I think, personally, what was amazing for
No,
me.
I love that. And that is something that we consistently hear, is that people, when we take out on the boats, they wonder, like, are we going to find anything? Like, Miami, Boca, South Florida is typically a pretty clean area. But once you get out there, you start looking for it. It actually is pretty wild, the volume of plastic that you end up finding. So, Ryan, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. After spending time out in the water, what were your thoughts after the cleanup?
Yeah, I was surprised. I take my kids out fishing all the time. I'm a fishing guy. We talked about it when we came there, and whenever we see something in the water, I make it a point, hand them a net and we pull it out, or grab the gaff and pull it out. But again, you're not always looking for that, to Dennis's point. So, when we actually went out with you guys, and I think your guys' proximity to the Gulf Stream also concentrates a lot of trash up in that area. So I'm out in the West Coast. It's not quite as turbulent. The waters don't flow by, but you guys get a lot of stuff coming up from the Caribbean and along that Gulf Stream passage. And it was quite shocking to see just how much washes up on those beaches, right? And not just the big things that like Dennis called out, but all these tiny microplastics, little things. I'd step on a cap or I'd try to grab one, it would like disintegrate in my hands. And you kind of had a good point, which I never really thought about. All that stuff eventually just makes its way into the ocean. You don't see it. It just becomes these tiny little microplastics. This is what everyone always talks about. And that's a ticking time bomb. I mean, at what point does that amount of plastic in the ocean become, unrecoverable? I don't know, but you can see it firsthand. I mean, all that stuff, because it's had how many months in the Gulf Stream rotting in the sun, and the second I touch it, falls apart. So for me, it also kind of brought to light, I think, a little bit more, realization of just how much is out there. And then the one thing that you pointed out was, what's the number one thing you guys are seeing? Bottle caps, which for some reason, I wasn't expecting bottle caps to be the number one thing I saw, but it was. So, and I do want to touch on one more thing, Alex, too. I think to Dennis's point about the partnership, it was really cool to see as we started to play this out with our partners. We actually showcased this to Yahoo, we mentioned it to Google, these large Silicon Valley partners, and we mentioned 4Ocean. And all of them immediately, visceral reaction, oh, 4Ocean, yeah, dude, stuff like that. They would talk about it, they knew it. We even gave them a few of the bracelets, just to say, hey, look, here's a little swag from the new partner.
Yeah.
But they knew you guys. And, a lot of the other people that we'd spoken to, the other organizations we spoke to, they don't have that recognition. And I think when we have a business to consumer product, there's a huge benefit to have a brand like you guys, somebody that's recognized, a home name. So I think that goes a long way, in kind of just driving home what this partnership is and kind of resonating with the users.
I appreciate that. And then that means a lot. And, we've been very fortunate to get, a considerable following on social media and so many passionate people that they appreciate what we do. And it is wild, to see like there's, and most, I can't tell you how many times we've been surprised with unpaid, just completely organic, like random celebrities rocking 4Ocean, athletes, different influencers, and different people that it's helped us so much in terms of the reach. And that has been one of my long-term visions is to leverage 4Ocean, leverage our brand to grow the awareness and grow that aspect of consumers understanding the implications of plastic and single-use plastics and what they're doing to the ocean. Because I say it a lot, like growing up, I grew up on the West Coast, just like you were talking about, Ryan, and I didn't see a ton of plastic. I didn't see a ton of pollution. And so it really wasn't top of mind for me. And I mean, growing up, I wasn't terrible by any means, but I also wasn't the most sustainability minded individual. Like I occasionally bought water bottles and I used K-cups and some small things like that, like occasionally, I didn't really pay attention to it. But it wasn't until actually seeing the stuff firsthand and seeing like football fields of plastic on these coastlines and seeing it, 10 feet deep, where no matter how many we dig, we just continue to get plastic piles of trash in these different areas. That's what really opened the eyes. And so I think for us, we've been very fortunate to be able to leverage our platforms, leverage that consumer awareness to try and move the needle. Because we say it a lot that cleaning plastic from the ocean alone is not going to end the ocean plastic crisis, right? We're just going to sit on a treadmill. We're going to keep cleaning the same things over and over. But if we can drive that awareness, if we can get people to be voting with their dollar, and we can really drive that influence across the board, then we can reach economies of scale and mass market adoption with sustainable alternatives, and people will be voting with their dollar, and we will get the outcome that we really hope to get across the board. So, that is a great point, and I'm very, very appreciative of, our audience and everybody that's supporting 4Ocean. And, this is a case in point, guys. Like, everybody following us on social media, a lot of people don't realize it, but that's supporting us. That's supporting our captains and crews out there cleaning plastic and trash from the ocean. Right here, you guys being a partner and in a consideration process, looking at it and saying, hey, this is an amazing aspect of the brand, and this is the opportunity to help partner. And, we would want to go with that. And that directly relates to us being able to employ more captains and crews, create more jobs, and essentially remove more plastic and trash from the ocean. So very, very appreciative of that, and super stoked to hear that. Kayla, I know you had a blast as well out on the boats. I'd love to hear your thoughts on after spending time with us.
Yeah, I think it was incredibly educational just in terms of what we were pulling up to, what we were, just seeing directly in the water as soon as we got off of the dock. Um, Small things to large things to plastic to glass to cardboard. So it seemed like almost anything can end up in the ocean. And I think even when you're talking about just small changes that we can make, whether it's K cups or a plastic water bottle, I mean, it's not things that I think about every single day, but going out and having to pick up so many of them, it was very clear that just a small impact can have a big change. So it definitely was eye opening to say the least. I think the team also just had a lot of fun. It was good for bonding, but also just eye opening and educational.
Absolutely. Those are some important features of what we talk to potential partners about is, the culture aspect, right? There is, you can do the different culture retreats and you can do the different events and things like that. But there's little things that can really get that type of, I guess, energy and overall interaction of getting out to clean the ocean, to working on the boat, and being able to spend your time in a way like that. So I think that's awesome, and I'm glad to hear that you guys had a great time. And we're always appreciative of you guys being able to get out there and experience it firsthand.
Definitely. I think we'd love to bring some partners with us to participate
Yes.
as well in the future.
That's fantastic. Hey, don't tell me with a good time. Anybody we want to bring out there, you let me know. We'll make it happen, and we'll go and get some people out there and show them firsthand what it looks like to clean plastic and trash out of the ocean. I'm ready.
But Alex, did you recently see the documentary by David Attenborough, Ocean? Did you watch that? Did you happen to watch that?
Yes.
All right, I watched it with the kids. We watch all those things, and I mean, I know this, but hammering it home again, like the ocean is the lifeblood of everything in this world, right? I mean, all the fresh water that we see on Earth here cycles through the ocean at some point. Oxygen, I think 70% of the oxygen comes from the ocean itself, right? Phytoplankton and all that. It's a resource that needs to be protected. And in light of just all the things going on, we talked about it earlier, right? Tech advancements, compute draw, just all the things you hear on the news all the time, deforestation and environmental impacts, we need to find a way across a larger spectrum to give back and to make sure we protect these resources. And I just want to say, I'm a huge, avid, conservationist really at heart. I mean, down here in Southwest Florida, I support a lot of these firms like, Captains for Clean Water and the Everglades Foundation, and of course you guys. And I just think there's not enough acknowledgement of just how kind of on the knife's edge a lot of this is right now with what we're doing to the environment. And so, I think I'm just jazzed. I'm super excited that our products can participate in a mission like this. I've been looking for something to kind of throw more of my passion at in this regard. And it's really cool that with a partner like you guys, we can actually link something you wouldn't think would be linked directly to a mission like this, right? A browser or a utility product or a mobile application. And we can do this together. So I just think it's vitally important. And we want to take that to our consumers, see what they think.
Love it. And I think you're absolutely right. There's so many things that are happening, and the ocean is such a vital resource that we have to protect, right? I think we talk about it all the time, right? We want thriving coral reefs. We want pristine surf breaks. We want mangrove forests that are just so healthy across the world. And I think that's something that we're very passionate about, to protect it for ourselves as well as for future generations. Like that's something, I've got 2 boys. And that's a huge motivator for me. And so, I think this is amazing to see how we can connect that, because to your point, there's so many different great groups out there. I mean, shout out Captains for Clean Water and everybody out there doing amazing work. Trying to just conserve these areas, and protect the areas we love, because these are the things that we're spending our time, and we want to have them for future generations overall. So, at the end of the day, guys, I just want to say we really appreciate you from our captains and crews and everybody out there, enabling us to really create these jobs and employ our captains and crews to clean plastic and trash out of the ocean. It means a lot to us. And I just want to say thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it. And really enjoyed having you out in the boat. And let's keep driving the impact forward.
Yeah, likewise, Alex. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
All right, thanks.
Looking forward to
See
the
you soon.
launch.
You guys.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was a fantastic conversation. I always enjoy to have our partners on talking through various different aspects of impact, their businesses, how they are interconnected, and also hearing how they had a great time out on cleanups, because we always love getting people out in the field. So if you guys are enjoying these episodes, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a comment, and let us know what you want to hear. Thank you guys so much for listening, and until the next one, we'll be asking, can business save the planet? See you soon, guys.